Welcome back, tennis fans, to the channel, and my goodness, do we have an absolutely spectacular blockbuster breakdown for you today. It is Sunday, June 7, 2026, and the grass court season is officially in full, glorious swing. The pristine lawns are freshly cut, the white lines are gleaming, and the unpredictable British weather is doing exactly what it always does, keeping everyone on the absolute edge of their seats. But today, the weather is taking a back seat to the sheer, unadulterated talent that is about to step on the court at the Edgbaston Priory Club. We are looking at the pinnacle of the 2026 Lexus Birmingham Open, a tournament that has historically been a massive stepping stone for future Grand Slam champions. And at exactly 4:30 p.m. today, local time, we are going to witness a final that feels like a crystal ball gaze into the next decade of women's professional tennis. On one side of the net, we have the top seed, the pride of the Philippines, the immensely talented 21-year-old Alexandra Eala. On the other side of the net, standing in her way, is the fearless, fast-rising 20-year-old Czech sensation, Nikola Bartunkova. This is not just a match. This is a collision of two completely different tennis heritages, two incredibly distinct styles of play, and two young women who are desperately hungry for their first major grass court title. Let us start by setting the stage and talking about the sheer magnitude of this moment, because to truly understand what is going to happen at 4:30 p.m. today, we have to understand the journey that brought these two phenomenons to Birmingham. Let's talk about Alexandra Eala first. If you've been following the sport over the last few years, you already know that Alex is carrying something that very few players on the tour have to carry: the undivided attention, hope, and passion of an entire nation. The Philippines has a rich sporting history, but when it comes to global, top-tier singles tennis, Alexandra Eala is a trailblazer in the truest sense of the word. Leaving home at a remarkably young age to train at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain, she was immersed in an environment of absolute discipline, grit, and tactical mastery. You do not survive that academy without developing a relentless work ethic and a mind like a steel trap. We all saw the potential when she captured the 2022 U.S. Open Girls Singles Championship. But the transition from junior success to professional ranks is notoriously brutal. Many junior champions fade into the background, overwhelmed by the physicality and the relentless grind of the WTA Tour. Not Eala. She proved she belonged with the elite when she became the first Filipino to reach a WTA 1000 semifinal at the Miami Open in 2025. But what makes her appearance in this Birmingham final so utterly compelling is her relationship with grass courts. Grass is a surface that traditionally takes years to master. The ball stays low, it skids. The bounces can be completely unpredictable, and it demands a level of footwork that borders on a delicate dance. Yet, Eala seems to have a natural affinity for it. Last year, in 2025, she marched all the way to the final of the Lexus Eastbourne Open, shocking a lot of seasoned veterans along the way. She proved that her heavy, left-handed topspin and aggressive baseline positioning could be adapted beautifully to the lawns. Coming into Birmingham as a number 1 seed is a totally different kind of pressure. You are expected to win. You are the target. Every player in the draw brings their absolute best game when they see the top seed across the net. And Eala has handled that burden this week with the composure of a 10-year veteran, fighting her way to this championship match. But then, we have to look across the net at Nikola Bartunkova. If Alexandra Eala is carrying the hopes of a nation hungry for tennis glory, Nikola Bartunkova is carrying the immense, almost suffocating weight of an unparalleled national legacy. To be a female tennis player from the Czech Republic is to be born into a factory of champions. You are walking in the footsteps of Martina Navratilova, Petra Kvitova, Karolina Pliskova, Barbara Krejcikova, Marketa Vondrousova, and Karolina Machova. The expectations are astronomical. When you are a promising Czech junior, the tennis world doesn't just hope you'll be good. They expect you to win Grand Slams. And Bartunkova, at just 20 years of age, is already proving that she has the ice in her veins required to uphold that legacy. Bartunkova officially put the tour on notice when she reached her maiden tour semifinal at the WTA 500 in Guadalajara last year as a wild card, played with a fearless, free-swinging style that caught everyone off guard. She followed that up with a phenomenal run, through qualifying to the third round of the Australian Open earlier this year, and another massive round of 16 appearance at the WTA 1000 event in Rome. She is climbing the rankings at a terrifying pace. But here's the kicker, and the reason why today's final is so fascinating. This is Bartunkova's first major run on grass. She is hoping to become the first Czech woman to win this Birmingham title, since the legendary two-time Wimbledon champion Petra Kvitova did it back-to-back in 2017 and 2018. The fact that Bartunkova has adapted her game to the grass so quickly, reaching the final in what is arguably her first major test on the surface, speaks volumes about her raw talent, her hand-eye coordination, and her natural feel for the ball. And here's the absolute most incredible twist to this entire narrative, the cherry on top of this phenomenal matchup. Alexandra Eala and Nikola Bartunkova are not strangers. They are not just passing acquaintances in the locker room. They are doubles partners. Just think about the psychology of that for a second. Earlier this very season, in 2026, they played on the same side of the net at the Australian Open, in Abu Dhabi and in Madrid. They have shared tactical discussions. They have celebrated together. They have consoled each other. And most importantly, they know absolutely everything about each other's games. There are no secrets today at 4:30 p.m. Eala knows exactly what Bartunkova's second serve looks like under pressure. Bartunkova knows exactly where Eala likes to direct her passing shots when she is pushed wide on the forehand side. Playing your doubles partner in a high-stakes singles final is a mental chess match of the highest order. It is about who can execute their game A, while simultaneously neutralizing the game A of the person who knows them best. It is a psychological thriller playing out in real time on a tennis court, and it makes this final an absolute must-watch event. So, as we count down the hours to this highly anticipated clash, the narrative is perfectly set. The established grass court threat carrying the pride of the Philippines versus the fast-rising heir to the Czech tennis throne. The top seed versus the fearless challenger. The left-hander versus the right-hander. The doubles partner versus the doubles partner. This is why we love the sport. The storylines are richer than fiction. Now that we understand the gravity of the moment, the background of these incredible athletes, and the unique psychological dynamics at play, it is time to put on our coaching hats. We need to look incredibly closely at how both women reach the Sunday final, dissect the numbers, and break down exactly what has to happen tactically for either Eala or Bartunkova to lift that beautiful Lexus Birmingham Open trophy. Let's dive deep. To predict what is going to unfold on the grass today, we have to forensically examine exactly how Alexandra Eala and Nikola Bartunkova earned their spots in this championship match. The semifinals told us a massive amount about their current form, their physical conditioning, and their mental resilience under intense duress. Let us start with our top seed, Alexandra Eala. Her path to the final was not a walk in the park. It was a grueling, character-testing battle. In the semifinals, Eala squared off against a dangerous qualifier, Rebecca Mazurova, in a match that was complicated by everyone's favorite British tennis tradition, the rain delay. Eala eventually triumphed 6-2, 4-6, 6-3, but this match was a massive physical and emotional investment. It was her longest match of the tournament so far, and it was the very first time she had dropped a set all week. When we break down that semifinal, we see a masterclass in mental compartmentalization. Eala came out firing in the first set, absolutely dominating the baseline exchanges and taking it 6-2. But then the rain came. When you are playing on grass, a rain delay is your worst enemy. It stops your momentum. It cools down your muscles. And when you finally return to court, the grass is invariably slicker, heavier, and completely changes the way the ball bounces. Mazurova, to her credit, used that disruption brilliantly. She came out swinging in the second set, utilizing a heavy serve to disrupt Eala's rhythm, and snatched the second set 6-4. For a 21-year-old top seed, facing a massive shift of momentum like that could be completely destabilizing. But this is where Eala's training at the Nadal Academy truly shone through. She did not panic. She did not rush. She simply reset her tactical board. In the third set, Eala focused heavily on depth. She realized that on a slightly damp grass court, hitting hard isn't as effective as hitting deep. By pushing Mazurova back behind the baseline with that heavy, looping left-handed forehand, Eala managed to dictate the terms of engagement, eventually breaking serve and serving out the match 6-3. That ability to problem solve in real time, amidst rain delays and a surging opponent, is exactly why Eala is the number 1 seed. Now, let's turn our attention to Nikola Bartunkova's semifinal performance. If Eala's match was a lesson in tactical adjustments, Bartunkova's semifinal was an absolute masterclass in high-wire survival. She defeated the powerful American qualifier Ashlyn Kruger in straight sets, 6-4, 7-6, winning a nail-biting tiebreak 9-7 in the second set. On paper, a straight sets win looks comfortable, but when you look at the statistics, Bartunkova's victory was built on an incredibly precarious foundation. The glaring statistic that jumps right off the page is Bartunkova's first serve percentage. She only landed 55% of her first serves against Kruger. In modern grass court tennis, a 55% first serve rate is usually a death sentence. Grass is a surface that heavily, almost disproportionately, rewards a server. You need free points. You need to keep the returner off balance. If you are constantly relying on your second serve, an aggressive returner is going to step inside the baseline, take the ball early, and punish you. However, here is the absolute paradox of Bartunkova's performance. While her percentage was low, her efficiency when the first serve actually went in was completely off the charts. When she did manage to land that first serve, she won a staggering 39 out of 48 points. That tells us 2 things. Number 1, her first serve, when executed correctly, is an absolute weapon that Kruger simply could not read or handle. Number 2, it tells us that Bartunkova is incredibly clutch under pressure, finding a way to win a tight second set tiebreak without her most reliable weapon firing consistently. So, how do these 2 distinct semifinal performances translate into the tactical blueprint for today's final? This match at 4:30 p.m. is going to be decided on 3 massive, critical battlegrounds. Battleground number 1, the left-handed geometry versus the flat strike. Alexandra Eala being a left-hander is an enormous advantage, particularly on grass. The most dangerous shot in her arsenal is the lefty slice serve out wide on the advantage court. On a grass court, where the ball already stays low, a slice serve literally bites into turf and skids away from the opponent, dragging a right-handed player completely off the doubles alley. Bartunkova has a double-handed backhand, which means she will have to stretch incredibly wide, often having to release her left hand just to slice the return back into play. Eala knows this. She will exploit the ad-court serve repeatedly. Eala's entire game is built around using that serve to open up the court, and then immediately stepping in to hit her aggressive forehand into the open space. Bartunkova's countermeasure to this has to be anticipation and flat, penetrating depth. Czech players are historically famous for taking the ball incredibly early and hitting it very flat. Think Petra Kvitova or Karolina Pliskova. A flat ball on grass doesn't bounce. It shoots through the court. Bartunkova cannot allow Eala to dictate with heavy topspin. Bartunkova must step inside the baseline, take Eala's shots on the rise, and flatten them out, forcing Eala backward. If Bartunkova allows the ball to get above her shoulders, Eala wins the rally. If Bartunkova can strike the ball at waist height and hit through the court, she takes control. Battleground number 2, the first serve percentage of Nikola Bartunkova. We just talked about the fact that Bartunkova served at 55% in her semifinal. I am telling you right now, unequivocally, she cannot win this final with a 55% first serve rate. Alexandra Eala is a vastly superior returner compared to Ashlyn Kruger. Eala has a low center of gravity, exceptional lateral movement, and she reads the server's toss beautifully. If Bartunkova relies on her second serve 45% of the time, Eala is going to absolutely feast on it. Eala will step into the court, take the return early, and put Bartunkova on the defensive from the very first strike of the rally. Bartunkova's coaching team knows this. Their primary objective in the warm-up today will be smoothing out that service motion. She needs to hit at least 65 to 70% first serves to protect herself, even if she takes a little bit of pace off the first serve, purely to increase the percentage. It is a necessary tactical adjustment. If she serves like she did yesterday, Eala will break her multiple times. Battleground number 3, the psychology of the doubles partner dynamic. We touched on this in the intro, but the tactical implications are massive because they have played doubles together so extensively this year. They know each other's tendencies under pressure. In tennis, when the score is 30-all or deuce, players have a default pattern. A safety shot they go to when they are nervous. For Eala, it might be a heavy forehand cross-court. For Bartunkova, it might be a flat backhand down the line, because they know each other so intimately. The winner today will be the player who is brave enough to break their own patterns. If Eala goes to her safety shot, Bartunkova will be waiting there. If Bartunkova goes to her default serve location on breakpoint down, Eala will already be leaning that way. The tactical genius today will come from unpredictability. The player who can successfully bluff, who can hit the shot their partner does not expect, will gain a massive psychological edge. It becomes a game of cat and mouse, a constant state of second-guessing. Finally, we must consider the physical toll. Eala spent significantly more time on court in her semifinal, dealing with rain delays and a grueling three-setter. Bartunkova got it done in 2 sets. On grass, where the movement is so jarring on the lower back and knees, physical freshness is a huge factor. Eala has a superior conditioning program from her years in Mallorca, but Bartunkova might have slightly fresher legs today. If this match goes to a 3rd set, which I highly suspect it might, Eala will need to rely on her immense stamina reserves, while Bartunkova will need to ensure her intensity doesn't drop as the match stretches on. When you look at the sheer depth of this tactical puzzle, it is absolutely staggering. We have the lefty advantage, the critical serve percentages, the check flat striking versus the Spanish-trained topspin, and the intense mental warfare playing a friend and partner. This is not just a baseline bash fest. This is going to be a high-speed game of physical chess. All right, we have set the stage, we have examined the histories, and we have completely dissected the tactical battlegrounds. The clock is ticking relentlessly toward that 4:30 p.m. start time in Birmingham. The stands of the Edgbaston Priory Club are going to be absolutely packed. The world will be watching, and it is time for me to put my reputation on the line and make a prediction. This is incredibly difficult to call because you have 2 young players whose trajectories are pointing straight to the top of the sport. However, when you look at the nuances of grass court tennis, experience and movement usually win the day. Nikola Bartunkova's run here has been nothing short of sensational. She has proven that her flat ball striking and fearless mentality translate beautifully to the lawns, and the fact that she has reached the final in her first major grass tournament is a testament to a phenomenal generational talent. I have no doubt that she is going to be a major force at Wimbledon in the years to come. But for today, for this specific Sunday in June 2026, my prediction is that Alexandra Eala will lift the Lexus Birmingham Open Trophy. I predict an exceptionally tight, highly contested 3-set match, perhaps something along the lines of 6-4, 5-7, 6-4 in favor of the Filipino star. My reasoning comes down to 3 incredibly specific factors. First, Eala has been in this exact position before on grass. Getting to the final of Eastbourne last year gave her a wealth of experience in managing the unique pressures of a championship weekend on this surface. She knows how the grass changes over the course of a tournament week, becoming chewed up around the baselines, and she knows how to adjust her footing accordingly. Bartunkova is experiencing the Sunday pressure of a grass court final for the very first time. Second, Eala's ability to generate heavy spin on her left-handed forehand gives her a larger margin for error. When the pressure peaks in the late stages of a 3rd set, hitting the ball completely flat like Bartunkova becomes incredibly risky. The margins are razor thin. Eala can roll her forehand with heavy RPMs, ensuring depth while keeping the ball safely within the lines. And third, I simply cannot look past Bartunkova's 55% first serve statistic from the semifinals. If she serves at that clip today, Alexandra Eala is simply too proficient a returner to let her escape unpunished. Eala will put relentless pressure on Bartunkova's second serve, ultimately forcing the breaks needed to win the match. But beyond the immediate result of today's match, we need to take a massive step back and look at the broader implications for both of these incredible athletes, because a win today changes the trajectory of their entire season. If Alexandra Eala takes the crown today, the implications are absolutely massive. First and foremost, securing her first major grass court title will completely validate the incredible work she has put in over the last year. It proves that her run at Eastbourne in 2025 was not a fluke, but the establishment of a genuine grass court pedigree. For the Philippines, it will be a moment of absolute national celebration. The impact she is having on the growth of tennis in Southeast Asia cannot be overstated. She is inspiring an entire generation of kids who never previously looked at tennis as a viable path. Looking ahead to the rest of the season, a win in Birmingham gives Eala an enormous injection of confidence heading straight into Wimbledon. With a WTA 125 grass title under her belt, Eala transitions from being a dangerous floater in the Wimbledon draw to a legitimate dark horse who could easily make a deep run into the second week. She will carry a tremendous amount of momentum, ranking points, and the invaluable belief that she can close out tournaments on the most prestigious surface in the sport. Conversely, what happens if Nikola Bartunkova defies the odds and wins today? If the young Czech star lifts the trophy, we are looking at the birth of the next great grass court specialist. Winning a title on your first major outing on the surface is a monumental achievement. It would immediately solidify her ranking, likely pushing her closer to a seated position at upcoming Grand Slams, which changes the entire dynamic of how she navigates major tournaments. It would also officially announce her as the undisputed leader of the next generation of Czech women's tennis. To carry the torch passed down by Kvitova and Krejcikova is a heavy burden, but winning today would prove she has the shoulders to carry it. Even if she falls short today and finishes as a runner-up, Bartunkova has already won so much this week. She has proven to herself and the rest of the locker room that her aggressive, flat-hitting game is perfectly suited to the lawns. She will leave Birmingham with critical match play, invaluable experience, and a massive boost of confidence. As we look at the wider landscape of the WTA Tour in 2026, matches like this are exactly what the sport needs. We are currently witnessing a massive, exciting generational shift. The established veterans who have dominated the last 10 years are slowly giving way to this fearless, incredibly athletic, and tactically astute cohort of players born in the mid-2000s. Eala and Bartunkova represent the very vanguard of this new era. They play with a level of power, precision, and tactical maturity that is frankly startling for their age. The fact that they are facing off today is not just a great final. It is the opening chapter of a rivalry that I firmly believe we will be watching in the second weeks of Grand Slams for the next 10 to 15 years. So, to every single tennis fan watching this breakdown, I cannot stress this enough. Clear your schedules. Set your alarms. Do whatever you have to do to make sure you are in front of a screen at 4:30 p.m. today. You are not just watching a tennis match. You are watching the future of the sport unfolding in real time. You are watching two friends, two doubles partners, put their relationship aside for a few hours to battle for absolute supremacy on the grass courts of Birmingham. I want to hear from every single one of you. Head down into the comments section right now and give me your definitive predictions. Do you agree with my analysis? Do you think Eala's lefty spin and grass court experience will carry her to the title? Or do you believe Nikola Bartunkova is going to find her first serve, flatten out her ground strokes, and blast her way to her first major grass court championship? Give me your score lines. Give me your tactical takes. And let's get a massive debate going before the first ball is even struck. If you enjoyed this deep dive, if you love this level of obsessive, granular tennis analysis, please do me a massive favor and hit that like button. It helps the channel immensely. And if you haven't already, make sure you hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another preview, tactical breakdown, or post-match analysis as we head deeper into the 2026 season and all the way to Wimbledon. The summer of tennis is just heating up, and we are going to be covering every single breathtaking moment of it right here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy the incredible final today at 4:30 p.m., and I will see you all in the next breakdown.